John, aka Indigo, Sky, aka Trigger Rank, and I want y'all to like, subscribe, share, definitely hit the notification bell. If you like to support the channel, cash up in the description. You like to follow me on any other platform, everything is the top of the description of my channel or whatever. With that being said, let's get the show on the road.
You are watching a master at work. Trapaholics, real trap shit.
What's up? Scott Akash Sanju. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And I knew right from the start I was too much. I'm closer than you think to the stars. Nigga, look up. Walking out of the nighttime, city winds, the sleepless eye. Hear her voice.
Oh, I'm from Florida. America, Florida.
Sweet seducing.
What about you? Where you from?
Into the nighttime. Four walls won't hold me tonight. If this town is just an apple, then let me take a bite. And they say why? Tell them that it's human nature.
Australia.
Does it do me that way? I say why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Does it do me that way?
India. I got some homies from India. Oh yeah, I know. I used to work for oh yeah, I know it's nighttime in India because I used to work for this gas station, and the people that was watching the cameras, I worked at nighttime, and the people that was watching the cameras, it was daytime where it was where they was at. So definitely know what you're talking about. You said good night. I said, yeah. Ganja. Said Holly.
Listen, man. Just so y'all know, how this whole thing really popped off. I sent the Vlad about wanting more money. He said to me, and listen, sometimes, and I'm guilty of this myself. The way you talk to people, if you don't talk to people the right way, and I'm not saying I talked to him the wrong way, but Vlad is so a narcissist and sensitive. And listen, I'm an egomaniac. I got my flaws as far as some of that goes, so I'm owning up to that. But I'm also not gonna kiss your ass, which is to say, I guess in Vlad's mind, maybe I approached this wrong, even though I just simply said, yo, man, I would like a little bit more money. To which he said, and this is where he kind of rubbed me wrong, where he just goes, something, and he said it so blatantly, like, you don't do what they're for it, when you're on, I buy subscriptions the minute you leave. I cancel the subscription. All I'm simply going to say is there's value in that. And I know I don't get the numbers that Boosie gets. So I'm not asking for what Boosie gets. But what I'm saying is if there is value and people telling you that, yo, I watch because of him. I get subscriptions because of him. Well, the nigga, break a little bread. Because if I'm the last of the Mohicans, and I thought Tony Yayo wasn't on anymore, but he still is. As far as I know, Lord Jamar quit. Godfrey, I know for sure quit. Boozy, because he's not getting the money he wants, he quit. If I'm one of the last staples left that generate numbers, work with me. And the main thing that struck me wrong is I said, Vlad, don't tell me my worth. Because while you might feel I'm not, and maybe he thought I was asking for what Boozy was, which I wasn't. And I thought I made that clear. I'm just saying that I'm not gonna pay you just based off what people say. And I'm going, I think there's value in that. And then so he goes, yo, I'm gonna call you, let's talk about it. And at the time he wanted to talk, I couldn't talk. I was busy. So then when I didn't call him at the time he told me to call him, next thing I know, I said, Jesus, boss, because I didn't call you back. Like, please, Vlad, and I literally texted him. I was like, please, I didn't even watch the interview because I'm just hoping you're not doing what I said. His reply, fuck you. Damn. Wait. And then the next thing I know, here we are.
I like it.
And just for the record, to all you people hit me up, going, yo, man, y'all need to make up and get back on the show because y'all two are like Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali and the chemistry. That ship is sailed.
No.
That it's almost like a slave ship. That they got the niggas off of Africa and they went to America. That is going.
Like Ike Tina, you're gonna be back together.
No, sir. No, sir.
Come on. Okay,
but not after all the shit he said about me, about Andy, and the lies. But go ahead.
All right. So he said, what time works? You said 5 p.m.
No, I didn't. I said, I'll let you
After
know.
5.
I said, I'll let you know.
I saw the screenshots.
I know, but I'm just saying, at first I said, I'll let you know. I'm not sure. Then he picked a time. He said, let's do it at 5. And I never responded to him.
Who's the thumbs up for?
I have to see. I don't know.
Okay, so I thought you said after 5.
Imagine having access to legal support whenever you need it on your phone. Sounds too good to be true, right? But it's not with
Point.
Okay.
So
that
you're coming
person-
here trying to
so
like
hold on.
ask for more money.
Hold on.
and then-
Wait. But even if I said that, okay, at some point, I'm busy. At some point.
But there's probably something leading up to it.
But tell me what about that warrants you going, I'm gonna just completely lie, throw this nigga under the bus, and talk shit.
Yeah,
I said at some point.
Maybe.
Here's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna beckon me. And this is where Vlad's ego and him being a narcissist. You're not gonna beckon me. You're not summoning me. I'm busy, nigga. I got shit to do. And despite what a lot of people believe, my legacy does not live and die on Vlad TV.
No one said it.
No. Because people in the comments love to go, and I can show you. Man, your career, man. You done fucked up. You done fumbled the bag, man. Your career. Listen, motherfuckers, I've been doing this for 30 plus decades. Before Vlad was ever
30 years.
There's 36 years.
Yeah, 30 decades.
I mean, my bad. It's 3 decades and change. My legacy does not rest on Vlad. Before Vlad was ever a thought, 16 years, started at 14, 16 years old, debut HBO Def Comedy Jam, Martin Lawrence. 17 years old, Showtime with Apollo, Sinbad. Appearances on Different World. 8 years on a TV sketch, won Emmys. Movies like Jerry Maguire, The Pest with John Leguizamo, How to Sync with LL Cool J. Fucking even movies that weren't great, that were fucking Break My Weed up on the DVD movies. At what point do you think, oh my God, my career hinges on Vlad? Fuck Vlad. That was a chance for me to make a little bit of paper while I'm at Versus. You niggas kill me.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Serious? There's a reason why niggas, and I don't ever own up to this. There's a reason why I'm called GOAT. There's a reason why I'm called Legend. And again, I'll never buy into that, because one, my ego ain't that big. A lie. And Vlad, you're a liar. When it was me, Andy, Ryan Davis, wanted to, let's take a picture, and your arm around Andy and your arm around me like we boys. And because you're such a narcissist, like I said, yo, and I didn't do it. And I told you, I didn't do it because you wanted it to be about you. This is my moment. I'm on stage. But you want people to know Vlad is in the house. Vlad, which is why you can't keep your motherfucking monkey ass behind the camera. You gotta get interviewed because you want people to know who you are. You want that face. You want the women to know who you are so you can fuck more black pussy. Niggas, stop it. So that's why I didn't shout you out. Fuck out here, shout me out. And listen, Sugar Ray Leonard has come to my show. Gary Payton, Too Short, Ice-T, Tretch, and I shouted them out, not because, and they didn't ask for it. They wouldn't do that. But I shouted them out because those are
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
legends that came to my show, which makes me feel good to know I'm important enough for legends and important people to come see me. But the clip I saw, you go, so Aries, when he comes to my studio, he berates and disrespects my staff. He's rude, he talks crazy to him. And you gave just one example where I just put the phone down and went, you fucking liar. He goes, Aries brings a towel with him because he sweats. And one day he forgot his towel. So he stopped the table and told, and let me be clear. When you go do Vlad TV, there's two people in the room. There's Vlad and his camera guy who also does the sound. And I signed the thing saying you can use my likeness. Those are the only two people in the room outside of me. So you see a staff, like you got a 15-man team. It's one motherfucker. And at no point did I go, stop. And you said, I happened. I have with his cameraman is, hey, how you doing? He mics me, I sign a little tablet, and that's it. We have never exchanged words, me and your camera guy, ever. I put that on my kids' lives and myself.
Tell me about Candace.
Who's Candace?
Makeup artist.
What about her?
She's all the rave now. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, she's a makeup artist. And for the record, yes, I would have a makeup artist cover up the dark spots around my eyes because one, it's hot as a motherfucking with them lights on. So yes.
So he looked like a goddamn raccoon on camera.
I do sweat, hence the towel. And with the makeup on and the powder, they help stop the sweating so I don't perspire as much. But I'm not ashamed about that. Listen, when you go on any late night talk show, whether it's Leno, Colbert, Letterman, whatever, the guests put on makeup. They put on makeup. When you shoot a movie, in the movies, you put on makeup. So that's nothing new. So fuck you for that too.
Just to clear that up though, is that his makeup artist or you bring the makeup artist?
I know Candace, he knows Candace, so we both like when I go in.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
There, he just calls Candace to come in and do it.
Now, as you guys just heard, even his own man's Andy knew he was wrong in the situation. How do you set up a meeting to talk about your pay increase and then not really adhere to the time that you both agreed on and basically ghosted them? The next morning, he still hits you back and says, bro, do you still want to discuss your pay? And your response was, yeah, at some point. You can tell Ari Spears never really wanted to jump on the call initially with Vlad. You had plenty of chances to call him back, but because you were in your feelings about Vlad initially telling you no, you basically wanted DJ Vlad to chase you. I'm pretty sure this is not how Ari Spears conducts business in comedy. You saw him and Boosie falling out, you basically thought you could milk Vlad for more money, and when he told you no, you could not handle the rejection. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I do think it's hilarious that DJ Vlad would be asking him for shoutouts while he would be on stage performing. And for some reason, that really bothered Ari Spears. Listen man, as for DJ Vlad, he's planning on dropping another response to Ari Spears. So far, he's had Whack 100 interview him, DJ Academics, 1090 Jake, and now he's going to have 6ix9ine interview him about this whole Ari Spears situation. Vlad said, tomorrow, I'm responding to Karen Spears, aka Ari Spears threatening to sue me. I'll also respond to his request to come back and do a free interview to address all the drama. Interview conducted by my biggest regular guest, and yes, this was definitely a shot at Ari Spears, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Hopefully Vlad's response is going to be the last response we get from this whole saga. Wrap this up, get this shit the fuck out of here. At this point, we the jury have heard both sides and everything they gotta say, and we're fucking tired of it. Both parties should definitely move on, and they can easily thrive without each other. You guys get in the comments below. What do you guys make of Ari Spears' final response to DJ Vlad? Was there...
Okay, y'all check it out.
I found an AI app that feels kind of illegal, and it's actually free. You can generate videos with...
G-Eazy just got accused of some really horrific things right before he was set to go on tour. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this G-Eazy situation. A couple of years ago, G-Eazy made a grave mistake, and that grave mistake has led to pretty serious allegations and hit pieces being made about him right now. And the grave mistake I wasn't interested in.
Okay, since G-Eazy's going on tour, I have a story to tell about him. And to this day, I don't know if I got treated that way because I was black or because I was ugly. I still don't know. So I lived in Tampa, Florida, and we used to go to this place called Water, WTR, all the time. And he was having a show there. This was like 2021, I think. I met with a bunch of friends. We all got I was your fan girl. I mean it. You know, your girl stuff I mean it. I was up there like, woo, woo, woo. I was recently single too, and I said, I want to go to VIP booth with G-Eazy. I asked my friend Willie, I'm like, yo, how do I get in there? He's frumpy. He said, I don't know, but I'll walk you up there. So he walks me up there, like where the security guard is. He leaves, he's grumpy. I go up to the security guard, and I'm like, yo, how can I get in this VIP? I was like, just like, girl in the game. Me and the security guard kikiing, and he thought I was funny. I've always been funny. All ends up, I give him $50 so he can let me in VIP. Whatever. So I get in, I ended up talking to the girls, like the girls, I was making friends with the girlies. G-Eazy comes into VIP now. I'm starstruck, right? I'm starstruck. I'm looking at him, he's like saying hi to all the girls, I'm trying to act cool. I'm trying, like not look at him, like sip my drink and like not look at him and stuff. And then he comes over and he says hi to my friend. I guess they had like known each other before. And then he looks at me and he does this. He goes, walks away. When I say humbled, at that time, humbled, I said, it was my villain arc. It was like where I was like, oh, I ain't that bad.
Her name is not important. The only thing you really need to know about this woman is her entire content is how much of a hoe she is and how she's so hot that men with blue checks want her, but she doesn't want them, but she's...
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So thirsty that they are inboxing her, that she screenshots every message from a blue check and posts it on her Instagram for validation. That's all you need to know about her. But apparently, G-Eazy not thinking she was attractive or fine was her villain origin story to be one of the greatest human pieces of you-know-what online.
Oh, I need to get finer. And not to say that G-Eazy is fine. At that time, I was obsessed with him. Now I know, cornball. Cornball! He always was looking like SpongeBob when he went to prom. Like, cornball. And now I know, you know what I mean? Like, I would never put... G-Eazy didn't do anything with me then. I feel like I needed that. Sometimes you need to be sat on your ass. Because you need to make moves that are in other directions. But, like I said, to this day, I don't know if it's because I wasn't the only girl of color. There was an Asian girl. There was one Asian girl there. To this day, I don't know if it was because I was of color or if I was ugly. G-Eazy to the day, I like legit lost a true down fan because of that day, because of the way he treated me that day. You know, don't be a stank ass. Don't be a stank ass.
Out of my wheelhouse, I can't begin to imagine what goes on in the mind of a groupie. But I would imagine what took place here is in her little town, in the little community she's from, right? In her community of 4s and 5s, she's probably top notch, right? She probably traveled, who have women. That man looks at her as if she's weak, and she's never been told she's weak and she don't measure up before. Well, and again, I can understand how that might hurt the ego of a young, aspiring groupie. But under no circumstances, all right, should that be the reason why you still hold a vendetta years later? So spiteful that you're willing to destroy this man's life because he didn't find you attractive. This is new levels. So then after she dropped this video, other women sent her testimonies of their interaction with G-Eazy. And with zero vetting, zero research, zero investigation whatsoever into any of these claims of her.
I came out with a story time yesterday about G-Eazy, about how he looked me up and down and I couldn't tell if it was because I was black or because I was we decided it was none of that. Because G-Eazy is not racist, he loves black girls, and I wasn't ugly. But that is the least interesting thing about what I'm about to tell you. Trigger warning, sexual assault. I had about 19 people DM me stories about alleged.
Do y'all see how disgusting this is? You dropped a story where conveniently in this story you are talking about your villain origin. 9 women DM'd you, right? Stories about G-Eazy. A can of paint. I can't even confirm if these women are actual human beings sending me messages of accounts of events that I have not investigated, I have not vetted, I have not done not an iota of research on, but I'm a plaster into my audience while telling them we believe all women. So everything they're saying, take it as the truth, while simultaneously saying, hey, listen, man, I don't want to get sued for allegedly. Oh, you're
feel free to tell everyone. 2017. Anyway, after party, and G-Eazy came up to me and like 3 of my white girlfriends. He was so aggressively nobody. And this cornball tried kicking me out of the party because I called him out for being a cornball when he treated me poorly. I was amongst like 4 women of color at this party. Yeah, it worked out though, because Ferg's people are like, they're like, no, she's good, she's a guest. Hated G-Eazy ever since. Not going to hold you, I saw your post about G-Eazy and he was the senior type. Girl, he's one of those grown-ass men, adults, and in the group of children, he deadass would act hot. And this man is still riding the Tumblr girl. Had weird energy from he's ripped all of my clothes off of my body and left me there alone to figure out how to get home, naked.
I don't believe that story. You know, I don't believe that. I don't believe that was actually a thing. I don't believe that was real. I wasn't there. I don't know for sure, but yeah, this is weird.
So when this was, she said maybe 4 years ago in 2021, 2022. He's in the VIP section. Girls were coming and going, which I found kind of strange. They weren't throwing money. They were literally in there to wanted to go home with them. So when we were 19 and
Don't believe it.
Anybody has it within them.
That's
I'm not here to defend G-Eazy. I'm not here to tell you these allegations.
that's cap though.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No voice.
That's definitely cap.
True or they're false. That's not my place. What I am here to say is there's something really and disturbingly wrong with somebody finding glee and joy in she has reading this and smiling and if these things is true, if these women went through this, if G-Eazy was in his 20s coming back and messing with like should have been forwarded to the police. If those 19-year-olds were essaying on his tour bus, it should have went to the police. But don't tell me he told you not to speak about it, so you kept quiet. But now you feel comfortable telling the world with 700,000 followers, but not the police. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. But the amount of glee that she gets from reading this, it's disturbing. And nobody should support this behavior. If those women are truly victims, tell them go get the help. Go put G-Eazy in prison if what he did is true.
Girl, this man is a coke vampire in 2017. Literally would be at parties like Count Cocula. Girl literally came into a room at a house party and he looked like this. Okay. Girl, okay. So I'm from the Bay. In high school, G-Eazy, aka Gerald, was big when I was a junior in high school. All the white idolized him, would crash his kickbacks in Oakland, etc. Anyways, he was underage girls, allegedly. And I went to college, my roommate confirmed she knew a 17-year-old who after one of his performances out in the Bay. Anyways, he was too grown to be and hanging with 17-year-olds, weird ass. I don't know how old he was in 2013, but we were all like 16, 17 at the time. I looked it up, he was 28, 29 in 2013, screaming. Me too. Girl, I was in one of his music videos before COVID started and he kept making out with the BG on set. He tried to call me over to him. I shook my head so fast, he looks so offended. So I don't have a super detailed story about him, but I've been around him with this guy I was dating that was his creative director. He had tiny feet and did a lot of blow. Unimpressed, to be honest. My friend's roommate in college and he went on his college tour in 2013 and wham bam chlamydia immediately. A girlfriend of mine met him as a minor at like 17 and still to this day his assistant will hit her up when he's in town. I've actively been with her and when she's received a text. I saw some TikTok where he said that this was his move, but we leaving, comes over with his friend, doesn't speak to me, still staring, still not in this dimension. Like, not cute, as an old is in his music video and hooks up with him. Time-wise, and I texted that you had sex with a rapper without a condom, which was a big move with me. But him, everybody knows he's gross. Look at Tana Mojo's story of him knowing but yeah, that first line of the my joke is still, it worked until I realized it was needing a focal point to stand up straight. A co-worker who swore he raped her friend after roofing them after a show.
Her even being involved in these quote-unquote victims' testimonies just damn near and publish their own testimonies without her, then they would probably have been treated differently. They probably would have been given, like more attention, more credible eyes. But because they went through her, and her initial video was essentially her being upset that G-Eazy didn't find her attractive or didn't want to take her home and bang her lights out, so she's upset that G-Eazy didn't want to F her. It's absurd, right? And these allegations to me are very, very important. If anything they're saying is true, hopefully they go seriously. If you go through somebody who has admitted they have a lifelong vendetta against somebody because they didn't want to have sex with them. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do y'all think about this, man? All right, y'all think G-Eazy is guilty? Y'all think this lady is a clout chaser? Let me know, okay? And if you're still watching this video and
clout chaser, she's a clout chaser. Y'all check out Poetic Flacco. About to check out O'Shea Duke Jackson. talking about Ashley Janae's funeral. Says an unexpected visitor. Let's see what happened.
You gotta talk because she's bad, bro. Can she cook? Does she have morals?
Today, family and friends gather to say goodbye to Ashley Robinson. The services, of course, will be held in New Jersey.
April 4th, and on April 5th, 2026, he would propose. By April 6th, 2026, she would be dead. And it became a worldwide horror story. Many people gave their condolences, and many people were just confused as why a woman who was 31 years old, very beautiful, living the quote-unquote soft life, would just die. And then the reasons gave by the Tanzanian government, or at least the police, was that she unalived herself. And then we found out that maybe she didn't unalive herself. And then there was an autopsy. And then Joe McCann had nothing to do with it. And then they took his passport so he couldn't leave, and they were investigating him also. What? Yes, all of those things were happening simultaneously. And while the world was raising their money, approximately $64,000 to bring the body of Ashley Robinson back to the United States because she's from the Philadelphia tri-state area, well,
and what's also new is over the weekend, the family says they did have an independent autopsy done and they are waiting for those results. I also asked about the autopsy that was done in Zanzibar, and the family says that they never received those results.
Now, this is important to know. Not only did Ashley...
They didn't receive the autopsy from the country, bro?
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's wild right there, though.
Robinson never got the results of the autopsy in Tanzania. Somebody had the unmitigated gall to steal her jewelry. That's probably not important if you're trying to get your daughter back.
Somebody stole the jewelry.
I can bury her.
That's what you get. That's what you get that dog. Just ask me how you got fired in the day off. You see how I'm sitting here telling me, I'm not acting. This me. Okay, I say the wrong all the time. Come on, you can't say the wrong thing to the wrong person though. Yes, you can.
Criminal auto violations, driving under the influence, DUI, auto accident.
I'm a target. I know we can't keep saying that, but I am. Right. So if you hired me to do that, let me do that. Let me do that. I don't know what happened. That was a dope experience. I was on that show for like 10, 11 years. Damn. So yeah. When they first brought it back, season 5, yeah. Me and Chico and Sid and Naval Hudson, we was the original, like from the season 5 that they brought back. So I've been on there ever since they brought it back. Like I even did a couple episodes in the last season that they did.
Right. Well, after listening to Nick Cannon, Carlos said enough is enough. I'm going to let everybody know exactly why I was fired. Carlos responded to this clip that was posted by Club Shay Shay. He said, that's right, he don't fire nobody. He gets them other motherfuckers to do it and act like he don't know shit about it. Then he goes on to address what Nick Cannon said in the clip. He said Carlos Miller drama includes asking...
So Nick Cannon failed, bro. He failed miserably.
To be paid correctly, to stop giving writing credits to motherfuckers who ain't wrote shit for nobody, and to be paid for all the shows that are being used as monetized content on social media. When they can't use you and exploit you, you're the problem. Now these are some very heavy allegations by Carlos. He continues, MTV, you should get some better representation if you don't like the offer. Then once he gets better representation to negotiate a better deal, MTV says, fuck this guy. Am I right? I wasn't gonna say shit, but they keep bringing this shit up and trying to make me look crazy. Got the whole black community thinking I did some shit to them folks. I was just a nigga at work that ain't gonna let motherfuckers handle me any kind of way. That's why I don't give a fuck about none of this shit, cause it ain't real. Just give me that little money we talked about and you'll never have a problem with me. That's always been my approach. Now, keep in mind, Even though Wild 'N Out is technically Nick Cannon's show, he's also been fired from the show as well. Everybody has to report to somebody. And yes, even Nick Cannon. I know sometimes people want to paint Nick Cannon out to be some kind of dirty, evil manipulator, somebody that's been in the game for a while and somebody that does not care about black people. I've seen all types of tap dancing jokes on Nick Cannon. Me personally, I don't think Nick had anything to do with Carlos getting fired. Just like he said in an interview with Shannon Sharp, he gives people opportunities to use Wild 'N Out as a launching pad to something else. And to be fair, if it's any consolation, look at MTV right now and look at where Carlos Miller is right now. Sometimes some shit is just out of your control. You guys get in the comments below. What do you guys make of Carlos Miller?
Gotta check out Cheeks. Cheeks. Alright, I was about to go to another one. Let me see what we got. One picture. 18 hours ago, debunking David theories in dismember teen intestine. What? Debunking? Alright, Law and Crime Network. That's what we about to react to, y'all. Law and Crime.
Now that we have more information in the David case, I want to address some of the theories, some of the rumors that have come out and see if there's anything there. From was Celeste pregnant to was her body frozen? Did anyone else have a hand in allegedly murdering her? I want to get into this. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So a lot has been said about investigation, about the criminal. Now, I want to do something different. I want to address some of the theories, some of the speculation that has come up during the course of this investigation and see, now that we have more information, see if we can figure out how true this is based on what we now know. So yes, we have more information, not all the theories about this. Because yes, prosecutors and the NE's office and law enforcement have come forward with more details about what they allegedly found. And this is after there being so much being closed off, so much being sealed. And so this is a good time to do this. And let's be clear, I have to imagine this is not all the, so this is a good time to do this. And let's be clear, I have to imagine this is not all the evidence that they have, all the information that they have. We know that there's a preliminary hearing scheduled for the end of the month that they're gonna present at a trial, and particularly if an investigation is ongoing, but we do get a sense of where they're at. Okay, so the first one, was 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez pregnant at the time that she died?
Question number one.
Now the reason that this has come up is because in the prosecution's...
No, she was not pregnant. She was not pregnant, y'all. She wasn't pregnant.
Pre-trial brief, they go to the alleged text messages between David and Celeste. Quote, text exchanges between the victim and defendant contain references to sex, pregnancy, abortion, and use of the Plan B emergency contraceptive. There are also explicit photographs documenting and corroborating their sexual relationship. In November 2024, defendant and the victim broke up, although they continued to communicate, and text messages suggest they also continued to have sexual relations. And then just a few days ago, her death certificate was amended. It was amended to suggest that it was unclear if she was pregnant when she was killed. In other words, it was changed from not pregnant to unknown.
So I'm wrong. So they saying it's unknown if she was pregnant or not. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I spoke to forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan about this on my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, and he said this could just be the medical examiner's office acknowledging the police investigation, acknowledging the findings of that investigation, the text messages, and since the state of her body, right, we're talking decomposed, dismembered, maybe they just have to put unknown. Even though, by the way, there's nothing in the actual coroner's report, right, the medical examiner's findings to indicate that she was pregnant. I mean, you go to that, here's what it says: uterus, present and not enlarged, and without endometrial lesions and hemorrhage, ovaries and fallopian tubes appropriate for age, private area without lesions, breast tissue without lesions, other female reproductive tract findings, severe post-mortem changes noted. And again, I confirmed this with Joseph, and he said he looked through it, and he basically said there's nothing to.
So basically, they gotta say, you know, I guess because of the text messages and all of that, that she could have been, but the coroner officer saying that, you know, she wasn't. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
Meaning there that she was pregnant. And also I have to say, if prosecutors believe that Celeste was pregnant, wouldn't they have included that in the filings? Remember, there's special circumstances allegations here. Prosecutors are not only claiming that David murdered Celeste, but he did it to keep her quiet, that he lied in wait, that he did it for financial gain. I mean, what better way to prove motive? What better way to prove he silenced a witness, killed her to protect his career than if she were pregnant? A 14-year-old pregnant with his child? That is strong proof of the sex charge that he faces. That's strong proof of the special circumstances allegations, right, for the alleged murder. But they don't mention that. They didn't mention that in the indictment. They didn't mention that in the brief. They didn't mention that at the press conference. Now, true, she was apparently in such a state of decomposition and dismemberment, it could get complicated. But again, at this point, nothing to say that she was.
One more video. That's what you said an hour.
Would have got the needle.
Would have gone over with that. But let's see what happens. By the way, I gotta say, I feel like the answer is yes.
They did. They did share a tattoo.
Here, because TMZ initially reported this was all has a tattoo on his finger, allegedly reading, "Shh." Now you can go to the prosecution's brief. They write, in order to distance himself from the victim, he amputated her left ring and pinky fingers because her ring finger contained a tattoo of his name. Her fingers have not been recovered. You go to the medical examiner's report. Quote, the left ring and pinky fingers appear to have been mutilated, and I did not locate them during my scene examination. She has a tattoo that reads, shh, on the inside of her right index finger. And we learned that it was through that tattoo and dental records. That's how investigators were able.
Mysterious, because it's like if he didn't the finger off with the actual tattoo, that's a dead giveaway of who this girl is. I mean, yes, she found it in his car, but this shit almost like it already was messed up with her dealing with an older man. Well, the older man dealing with the younger girl. That. But then the people in his circle probably could have had something to do with it, and he might have not have known. But I just feel like he knew what the fuck happened.
This came up during the course of the investigation. There was a theory out there. Was Celeste's body frozen? What complicated this was the MD's office. Their findings were sealed by the court for all this time until recently. So a lot of this was guessing as to what happened. Now we remember months ago, the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division released a statement addressing this, saying, quote, the Los Angeles Police Department is aware of the recent stories posted by various media outlets about the David Celeste Rivas investigation and would like to dispel some misinformation contained in their reporting. The body of Celeste Rivas was not frozen when it was discovered on September 8th, 2025. Now, to be clear, we don't know if at any point before that her body was frozen. However, there is nothing that has been presented by prosecutors, as far as I can see, to suggest her body was frozen. You go back to their filing, quote, moreover, defendant took horrifying measures to destroy and discard the victim's body. After placing her body into the blue inflatable pool to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor, to cut off her limbs. Small were found in bed fragments, two inflatable purchased by defendant in May 2025. In order to distance himself from the victim, he amputated her left ring and decomposed inside his Tesla. He allowed to friends, business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle. Before leaving on his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home, LAPD served a search warrant at the defendant's home at 1368 Kahini Place on September 1st, 2025, after the victim was identified by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner on September 16, 2025. Inside the garage, detectives discovered evidence consistent with the dismemberment of the victim's body in the inflatable pool, which contained multiple linear cuts. Several biological samples, which tested positive for blood, were collected within the garage area. DNA analysis determined that various samples matched the victim's unique genetic profile.
So they said that the blood found in this garage, that all this was supposed to have went down, is actually her blood.
On December 9th.
So all they would have to do is prove, like, to find him guilty. The only thing they would have to prove is, first, you called an Uber for her to come to the house. All they got to do is get the Uber records of the time that they dropped her off at the house. If your phone records show you at that house when she shows up on the Uber, and then she's unalive right after that, that's, bro, you dead in the water, bro.
The victim's death, a homicide caused by 2 penetrating injuries to the torso. On January 17, 2025, the victim's U.S. passport card was found by a Caltrans.
This is a simple case, but one thing I will say, bro, they're gonna have to make a movie out of this shit. They're gonna have to make a movie out of this, bro. They can make a movie damn near, well, I wouldn't say before the case is over with, after the case is over with. They should actually make a full Hollywood movie about this case, bro. This is some shit, bro.
Her off SR 154 in Santa Barbara County. So again, this goes to the idea of they were very, very thorough, very, very specific in what happened to Celeste, what happened to her body, what they claim happened. But the idea that her body was frozen, nothing to suggest that at this point. Of course, there's going to be questions about where her body was at all times, but it seems at this point there was no physical evidence when the body was recovered to indicate it being frozen or thawing or anything like that. Okay, here's another one. Were others involved? If it's something that we've all wondered about, we've all speculated about into this case from the very beginning. Remember, he represents the owner of the property where David had reportedly been staying that was near where the Tesla was found. I mean, for 20 years, nothing in the statements from law enforcement, nothing in the brief filed by prosecutors that indicates there is some or aided or abetted David in any of this. No one else is charged. I mean, Neil Langston, David's family with Celeste's death. I keep going back to when I interviewed Nathan Hockman, the Los Angeles County DA, on my News Nation show, Jesse Webb Live, and asked him point blank about others being involved and others being potentially charged. And he said, we have an ongoing investigation. If anyone has information, come forward. And if and when we charge anyone else, you'll be the first to know. By the way, live murder. Oh, and according to the prosecution brief, this was only a few weeks later, July 29th, surveillance video and other evidence confirmed the defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29th, 2025, before he left Los Angeles. And Sukama, and he apologizes for the way his bathroom smells, but blames it that he went to the bathroom a couple hours earlier. So is it possible, if these allegations...
If your shit smells that bad a couple hours after, hell nah, bro. That's some bullshit.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? Untrue, he's innocent until proven guilty. Is it possible he kept it hidden from everyone? Maybe. Now, it's one thing to talk about the alleged murder and the alleged disposal of Celeste's body. It is another thing to talk about the alleged sexual abuse of Celeste. Remember that sex charge that he faces.
And I see that right there, that gonna get him all the way, bro. That right there, you're gonna lose in court, bro. And you already lost, bro.
There are those who may find it difficult to believe that no one else knew about this purported illegal sexual relationship between him and Celeste, she being a minor. Again, if the allegation thought Celeste was 19 years old, that she was a student at USC. True, right? What was he saying to people about Celeste if she was around, and if this is true. And you know what's true? And you know what, Steve Fisher, he made an interesting point about this on X. He wrote, quote, minors such as Celeste Rivas Hernandez cannot just travel to London without consent. Here are the laws in the UK about minors traveling with an adult that is not their parents. US citizens do need an ETA visa to travel to or through the UK. You'll need to show that your parent or guardian consents to your travel and accommodation arrangements. If you do have to apply for a standard visitor visa, you'll need to identify the adult traveling with you in your visa application. If the person you're traveling with is not your parent, you'll need specific information about them in your application. If it is not your parent, you'll need specific information about them in your application. You can identify up to 2 adults in your visa application. Their names must each complete separate applications. Now, Now, again, going to this idea, was anyone else involved or anyone else had knowledge, I have to address this. Talk other part that is out there about whether Celeste's family knew what that they were somehow paid off. We know the family process, again, understandably so. Think about what they've been going through. But as reported by TMZ, Celeste's father, Jesus Rivas, through the family attorney, Patrick Steinfeld, broke his silence. Quote, I never had any contact with this guy, and we haven't received any money from him or anyone in his family. Now, back on my show, Jesse Weber Live, I spoke to Lauren Conlon, columnist for Los Angeles Magazine, about these rumors, which apparently came from posts on Reddit.
You say you moved out? What's up, bro? Vishnu? Oh, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I don't even remember telling you, bro, but I guess I did. Appreciate you, big dog. Thank you, man. I'm talking about salute. Salute. My man done got there, put your hand together for Vishnu. And got there, moved out and got started his own thing. That's how you do it, big dog. Start your own shit.
Originating from Celeste's hometown of Lake Elsinore. And she said,
bro, I ain't got to do nobody, I ain't got to go nowhere. I can make beats right here. I can make beats back there. I got a mic right here, so I can record right here if I really wanted to. But I got my whole studio in the back of my bedroom. But hey, man, appreciate you, man, for taking that advice, and thank you for saluting me on it. Appreciate you.
Family is going through something so horrific and so tragic that no family should have to go through. We're living in this crazy society where we blame the victim's family, and at this point, we just don't know enough. And I also interviewed retired detective law enforcement instructor Matt Irvine here on Sidebar. Here's what he had to say about it.
It would be absolutely normal and natural for a predator to ingratiate himself with the family of his victim. We don't know how or to what degree this happened in this case, but that puts blame on the predator and not on the family. David was a very powerful, glamorous, wealthy, successful artist. This is a family that by all accounts was struggling to get by in a kind of remote, distant, dusty corner of Southern California. The power dynamic is overwhelming. The power over a child as young as 11 when this relationship started, and the power over a family of limited means trying to compete with this glamorous, successful, wealthy guy. Clearly, they took the phone away from her because there was something they objected to, something they were trying to keep from happening. He traveled 70 miles and gave $1,000 to a middle school kid to get her another phone. Whatever they tried to forbid, whether it was judging, grounding, whatever they tried to do, the evidence is that Celeste responded by running away. And again, that's not casting any blame on Celeste either. She was a child, and her parents are victims in this too. And they've suffered an unspeakable loss at the hands, apparently, of somebody truly ghoulish. And we need to be careful as we talk about this that we don't start becoming ghouls ourselves. She is a victim, her parents are victims, and the only person to blame that we know of so far for the death of this child is David Burke.
A year of uncertainty. And then to find out
I know about Gideon.
Number 2. And this
Gideon, I know about that. I'm pretty sure I don't watch one of their.
Keep them quiet about the room.
My bad, hold on. I'm pretty sure I don't watch one of their videos before. I think them the young guys that be doing the Chris Hansen thing, the T-cap to catch a predator. but they it's new school. It's like some little younger guys. I think I know what you're talking about. Is that what it is? Put a 1 in the chat. I ain't gonna lie to you. I should try to do some shit like that. For real. I should do that, bro. I should get a little crew, and I just pop out like, hey, bro, what the fuck you doing in here, bro? Well, like, what you got going on, bro? Like, for real. Hey, if you want me to do that kind of content, bro, just let me know, bro, because I might have to hop out and be like, hey, bro, who the fuck are you? I might be like, hey, bro, what you got going on, big dog?
The relationship or anything like that. If they're trying to prove this sexual relationship, if they're trying to prove that he wanted to keep it quiet, I have to imagine that would have made its way into the evidence so far. I have to imagine that would have made its way into the brief. We haven't seen that. So I think that should be an important consideration for anyone out there who's casting some sort of blame or some sort of spotlight on the family. Just keep that in mind as we go on.
Thank you for saying that. That's absolutely right.
I go now to another theory that came up. This is an interesting. Again, assuming she was murdered, and allegedly, let's say she was murdered by David. Was she killed like prosecutors seem to suggest? Quote, despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. In fact, defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, he drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone asking where she was. Again, these were acts calculated.
But see, the thing about that is, that like I keep talking about the Uber. The Uber is gonna be the thing that's gonna basically just let everybody know.
Freeway to San Marcos Pass Road, SR-154, near Lake Cachuma, Santa Barbara.
It was at this moment he knew he fucked up, and yeah. He knew he fucked up.
His album that week. He also sent 2 additional texts to the victim's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. After April 26, 2025, never attempted to contact her again. May 8, 2025, defendant returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home around 11:30 p.m. He returned to the area again on May 31st, 2025. This is an isolated site off SR-154 where the victim's identification was subsequently discovered in January 2026. Additionally, on July 7, 2025, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered a burn cage to his home under the same fake name.
What you doing with a burn cage, bro? Like, I mean, are you gonna explain it as way as you had a burn cage because we was about to shoot a video? Nah, bro, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Part of his plan to incinerate evidence. Defendant's cellular activity and communications derived from defendant's iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate defendant's activities from April 22nd, 2025 to April 24th, 2025, including a trip to Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night after the victim arrived. At shortly alleging he was establishing an alibi, he was establishing a cover, like why would you send a text like that? But given the Santa Barbara trip where the alleged, could the 10:30 p.m. where are you text messages actually be real and not a staged alibi? Could Celeste have walked away after an argument upon arriving in the Uber? Maybe those texts from David asking where she was were real, and after he didn't receive a response, he went looking for her, found her, and they ended up driving to Santa Barbara County where the killing actually occurred. He could have shut her phone off when finding her. In that scenario, her body could have remained along SR-154 for roughly 12 days until the pool, body bag, laundry bags, and chainsaws were ordered and delivered May 1st and May 5th. It is also worth noting the pool was ordered after her.
So they saying that he unalived her. Her body was sitting somewhere. Man, this is damn, bro. This is too much, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, man, come on, bro.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
This some other shit right here, bro. Like, this sick on top of sick, bro. Like David needs to be
That means it would not have contained blood from the actual killing. The DA's version of events is a very compressed timeline. Arrival at 10:10 p.m., a fatal stabbing, and then being composed enough to send an alibi text by 10:30 p.m. That is a 20-minute window. They also claim the trip to Santa Barbara that evening was to start disposing of evidence. However, the evidence had not even been purchased yet. The pool, chainsaw, shovel, and other items had not even been ordered at the time of the first Santa Barbara trip. There's also the question of storing a body at manager Josh Marshall's rental house for 12 days while waiting for tools, with nearby neighbors and decomposition odors likely becoming noticeable within a few days, all while David was out of town and having to trust that nobody would enter a house that wasn't even leased to him. None of this changes the central point that David is responsible. He killed Celeste, that I am certain of. Like I said, the DA is likely correct in their theory. They are working with all the evidence. Hashtag David, hashtag Celeste Lucas Hernandez. Now, I spoke with Steve last night on my News Nation show. Here's what he said about it.
Because we can't find this crime scene. And also, during the search warrant, we did not see the bio teams, or we didn't see the tele suits, we didn't see crime scene, established.
So I'm trying to figure out what he's saying. Why the crime scene was established.
Anything like that.
No, there wasn't. And we don't see luminol traces. We don't see crime scene markers. Definitely no bio evidence. And we don't see them processing it as a bio evidence scene.
So yeah, the big thing for him is, like, on top of that timeline is there's not evidence of a cleanup in the house as far as he can see, as far as we know. So that would seem to suggest they say he didn't commit this murder. They say he's not the cause of that. He is innocent until proven guilty. And I don't know if they plan to point the finger at somebody else. And, look, could there be openings for reasonable doubt? As far as we can tell, no surveillance footage in the house showing the alleged murder. No apparent eyewitness to the killing. Does raise a question of how prosecutors know certain things, like saying he stabbed her and watched her bleed out. How do they know that? Prosecutors say we know the date that he drove that Tesla, but did anything else move it? But I will say, in terms of whether or not the theory he's framed, it is the combination of the evidence that may be tough for the defense. Why do I say that? Go back to the prosecution's brief. Quote, tellingly, defendant subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24, 2025, defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. On May 1st, 2025, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws to his home. On May 3rd, 2025, defendant ordered and Amazon subsequently delivered a body bag, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. He made purchases under the fake name Victoria Mendez. And I've heard this idea before, maybe while this was all for a music video. Items at that time, especially if the digital data will in fact show Celeste's movements to his house, the lack of cell phone activity from her after April 23rd.
That's evidence also. So it's like, if her phone stopped at that time, the time of her unaliving, all that's don't let her Apple watching that died right after this happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all this evidence, bro.
If they're able to track him to Santa Barbara,
They're a Christian alternative to Instagram. Stick around and find out. For Christians scrolling through Instagram, some
questionable. And the timing of this is key too, because remember, prosecutors allege he killed her by alleged relationship to prevent her from ruining his career. And per the prosecutors in the brief, quote, April 23rd, 2025 is the likely date of the victim's death and when all her cellular activity ceased. The night prior, April 22nd, 2025, defendant and the victim engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. The messages revealed the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationships with other women, multi-million-dollar career already in progress. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. And when it comes to evidence of the relation, as I've proved, defendant continued to manipulate the victim as she messaged, all we have sex and just hang out. Man, I want more than that than the killing itself. So you can make the argument maybe this is just a circumstantial murder case. Maybe yes. And we'll see what the defense does, and we'll see what more the prosecution has. But in terms of the reliability, the accuracy of this data, the sufficiency of this evidence, again, here's Matt Irvine.
First of all, to your first question, I think the investigation that's been laid out so far has been thorough. It's been outstanding. The breadth and depth of investigation and evidence that's been hinted at so far by the LA District Attorney's Office is truly impressive. And I really have to hand it to LAPD and the DA's office for being willing to stand in silence and take the blows that they've been taking over these last 6 or 7 months with all the folks saying, what are they doing or why aren't they doing anything? And it's very clear that they weren't able to talk about what they were doing, but they've clearly been doing a lot, and probably from the moment that Celeste's body was discovered in the Tesla.
This goes to a question, how can they track him at? And how accurate is that data? Is this something that can be questioned by defense attorneys successfully at trial? Or in your experience, if you're talking about cell phone records, license plate readers, that becomes very, very difficult for defense attorneys to argue about the reliability, the accuracy of that data?
It's pretty hard to argue with geolocation data, especially if you've got multiple sources of data. It's quite likely, because this is not a sophisticated offender, that he didn't think about leaving his phone behind. And if he brought his phone with him, that can be tracked very precisely. Even when the phone is off, there is usually some limited geolocation data available with most smartphones. That's how your Find My Phone app works if your phone's turned off or the batteries died. As to the traffic cameras, that's a very good source of evidence. It would be interesting to see who manages those traffic cameras. Flock, which is the big company, typically only keeps for being willing to stand in silence and take the blows that they've been taking over these last 6 or 7 months with all the folks saying, what are they doing or why aren't they doing anything? And it's very clear that they weren't able to talk about what they were doing, but they've clearly been doing a lot, and probably from the moment that Celeste's body was discovered in the Tesla.
This goes to a question, how can they track him at? And how accurate is that data? Is this something that can be questioned by defense attorneys successfully at trial? Or in your experience, if you're talking about cell phone records, license plate readers, that becomes very, very difficult for defense attorneys to argue about the reliability, the accuracy of that data?
It's pretty hard to argue with geolocation data, especially if you've got multiple sources of data. It's quite likely, because this is not a sophisticated offender, that he didn't think about leaving his phone behind. And if he brought his phone with him, that can be tracked very precisely. Even when the phone is off, there is usually some limited geolocation data available with most smartphones. That's how your Find My Phone app works, even if your phone's turned off or the batteries died. As to the traffic cameras, that's a very good source of evidence. It would be interesting to see who manages those traffic cameras. Flock, which is the big company, typically only keeps that data for about 30 days, but they contract with different localities and law enforcement agencies, and so that can be extended. It would be unusual to me if that data was available 6 or so months later, which would be the earliest that an investigation could have started, because they didn't find poor Celeste until September. Traffic cameras are a possibility. I think more likely we're talking about geolocation data through the phone, and quite possibly through the Tesla as well.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always,
hey man, we just got through checking out Sidebar. We about to go back to Chill Smooth DJ Academics calling out Joe Budden or vice versa, whatever. Y'all know what it is.
Wait, this game is way better than all App Store games. Where'd you get it? It's not available to download at all. What? I made it myself.
YouTube, chicks.
I like Chick Smooth. Chick Smooth is somebody I really enjoy listening to on YouTube, because Chick just got an intellectual curiosity.
My bad, you guys. It's getting a little bit smoky out in these podcast streets. Every quarter, Joe Budden and DJ Academics go on their separate platforms and pump fake like they want smoke with each other. The last time was back in...
Yeah, he's still with Drake, bro. That nigga, he rocking tight with him, bro. Like, he's like the #1 Drake supporter, bro. Like, he gonna support Drake out of everybody.
In January, when Joe Budden actually called Academics on his podcast to confront him and ask him why he let Aiden Ross diss him. You can if you're a guy, why are you letting somebody like Aiden diss me and talk down on my name? Now, this was right after Academics had just finished going at it with Mona from Joe Budden's podcast. So obviously he's not going to feel inclined to...
Yeah, he got a big bag. You know, Drake got a big bag, so he could pay these folks, but you know what I'm saying, to keep his name in the algorithm, because he already know they watch him, so it is what it is, bro.
Step up and defend Joe if you just let one of your castmates go at me on your podcast. Well, fast forward to last week, these guys are back at it with.
Hey, you said you got your own studio. Press a 1 in the chat. You say you got your own studio.
Again, while he was talking about the most recent state lawsuit that involved DJ Academics and Drake, Joe Budden spoke on the lawsuit and criticized Academics. His main point was that DJ Academics was promoting Stake while he was gambling, but he's actually gambling with house money and not his own actual money. The conversation Joe had on his podcast was pretty much about disclosure.
People, then that is a big deal.
See, that's my point. Like,
You don't see it as misleading.
yeah, I don't see it as.
I say I could be a little. I watch Academics do. I watch him do hours of commentary about hip hop in front of a steak screen, in front of a steak poker table, pretending to. I don't know if it's pretending, but seeming like he's gambling his money. You can't do that.
Is it confirmed that he's not gambling his money?
I don't know any of that,
And
but that's for their investigation. But that's why they're saying, we've investigated. Nobody's saying that they're connected to this company. So if we find out that there's a link somewhere and that they're giving you money to do certain things, you're done so. I think that makes all sense in the world.
You're saying
Search for your podcast. Some way, somehow, DJ Academics misinterpreted Joe's entire point. Academics said, how dare you criticize me when you also take gambling dollars as well? And he actually addressed it on 2 different occasions.
Oh, gang, we not about to. Yo, you ain't got to be all the way clean. Like, what I took from it was just that he was basically saying gambling is like infiltrating hip hop commentary. And I'm like, bro, y'all biggest sponsors, nigga, you went to the Super Bowl for Prize Picks. Oh, serious? Nigga, Prize Picks is not even allowed. It's quasi gambling, nigga. Like, if anything, Prize Picks like is doing more loopholes than anybody. Prize Picks even in Jersey not even allowed for certain shit. It's only allowed for one thing. So it's like, bro, I can't talk with these niggas about nothing like that. You know what I mean? Not. I think right after he said that, he did a Prize Picks. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is getting out of hand, bro. This is getting out of hand. Everything that people are accusing me of, they'll be like, yo, you and Drake, right? Like, I sleep sometimes mentally masturbate. I'm like, am I this fucking powerful? All of these niggas, when they now talk about Drake or how Drake is this, like, even with all due respect, with all due respect to even my comrade Joe Budden. Joe Budden is on his podcast reading a fucking lawsuit that is so frivolous that if he looked at on face value, the lawsuit says that State is botting streams. Like State is running some fake program to bot streams